Did people long ago know the stars better than we do today? This is a quiet question. Across the arc of human history, civilizations have gazed skyward, their hearts stirred by the endless ocean of stars. From the first flicker of firelight on the walls of prehistoric caves to the grand temples aligning with celestial constellations, humanity has always looked upward not only with curiosity, but with an almost spiritual longing. The question that lingers, silent yet unrelenting, is whether we have ever truly been alone. Hello, followers. Welcome back to another episode of the Shadows of History series. If you're into gripping documentaries, deep dives into historical events, hidden truths, and untold stories, you're definitely in the right place. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop a comment below. I love hearing your thoughts. Big shout out to all our new subscribers. Welcome to the family. And to my returning viewers, you already know, you're the real hero. Alright, let's dive into today's story. You're not going to want to miss this one. Long before telescopes or rocket ships, ancient peoples described the heavens not as a cold void, but as a living realm of deities, travelers, and teachers, beings who descended from the stars to shape the destiny of humankind. The myths of these sky gods, found in remarkably similar forms across continents and millennia, suggest an underlying pattern that transcends culture and geography. To the modern mind, conditioned by science and skepticism, these tales are often dismissed as metaphor or myth. Yet to the ancient world, myth was not mere fiction. It was encoded truth, the sacred memory of encounters too profound to express in literal language. The allure of the ancient astronaut hypothesis lies not in proof, but in possibility. It dares to ask, what if the gods of old, the luminous beings of Sumer, Egypt, the Andes, and Mesoamerica, were not purely divine symbols, but visitors from distant worlds? What if our ancestors' greatest architectural and intellectual triumphs were inspired, accelerated, or even guided by interstellar contact? Whether one approaches these questions as historical speculation or poetic metaphor, they reveal something essential about humanity's nature, our eternal dialogue with the unknown. This exploration seeks not to prove or disprove, but to contemplate. Through the Sumerian tablets, Egyptian pyramids, Mayan calendars, and the enigmatic mysteries of lost civilizations, we will trace the shimmering threads that weave human history to the stars. Perhaps in these echoes of the past lies a reflection of ourselves, the cosmic beings we have always been destined to become. It does not ask about spaceships or visitors from other worlds. In the cradle of civilization, on the fertile plains between the Tigris and Euphrates, rose a people who called themselves the Sumerians. To modern historians, they were the architects of writing, law, astronomy, and urban life. Yet within their cuneiform tablets, pressed in clay over 5,000 years ago, lies a cosmology so advanced, so vivid, that it seems to straddle the line between myth and memory. The Sumerians spoke of beings called the Anunnaki, those who came from the heavens to earth. According to their legends, these divine figures descended from the sky to establish order, teach agriculture, and bestow the arts of civilization. The Anunnaki were not abstract gods of imagination. They were depicted with human-like features, adorned in strange attire resembling modern flight suits, often surrounded by symbols of celestial craft, wings, stars, and discs hovering in the air. To some, these are merely artistic conventions. To others, they are evidence of a sophisticated people recording encounters with technologically superior visitors. The Sumerians described their gods as coming from Nibiru, a planet whose long elliptical orbit brought it near Earth every few thousand years. Whether literal or symbolic, the story hints at a cyclical relationship between humanity and the cosmos, one of contact, withdrawal, and return. The Sumerians' astronomical knowledge was breathtaking. They mapped the movements of planets invisible to the naked eye, identified the precession of the equinoxes, and established a mathematical system still echoed in our 60-second minutes and 360-degree circles. For a people of the 4th millennium BCE, their precision seems almost impossible without advanced instruments. How did they know what modern science rediscovered only in the past few centuries? One interpretation, poetic yet provocative, suggests that their knowledge was not guessed, but given. The Anunnaki, according to myth, shaped humanity from clay mixed with divine essence. A metaphor, perhaps, for genetic manipulation, or the spark of intelligence bestowed upon an early hominid species. If so, our creation was not an accident of nature, but a deliberate act of cosmic engineering. Whether one believes this or not, what cannot be denied is the Sumerians' obsession with the heavens. Every temple, every festival, every myth was woven with astronomical symbolism. To them, the stars were the dwelling places of their creators, and the night sky was not distant. It was the ancestral home from which they had come. Their civilization, among the first to rise and the first to fall, left behind an inheritance of wonder. Even in decline, their myths migrated, carried by the Akkadians, Babylonians, and Assyrians, evolving into the later gods of Mesopotamia, then echoed in biblical and classical traditions. The celestial beings of Sumer became angels, watchers, or Olympians, the same archetype under new names. In their disappearance, perhaps, lies a truth. Even if the gods departed, their legacy endured within us, in our mathematics, our architecture, and our unquenchable fascination with the stars. It asks about something closer to home. It asks about human sight. It asks about human understanding. It invites us on a journey back in time. We will travel to a world lit by fire and starlight. We will stand beside ancient minds looking up. We will not seek easy answers. We will look at the evidence, listen to the stories, and weigh what was lost and what was gained. Ancient people did not just observe the sky. If Mesopotamia gave humanity its first written myths of heavenly visitors, ancient Egypt gave them form, grandeur, and permanence. Nowhere else on earth do stone and starlight merge so elegantly. A civilization whose monuments seem less built than summoned, as though guided by an intelligence both terrestrial and cosmic. The Egyptians did not simply construct for the dead, they engineered eternity. And within that eternal architecture lies a riddle that continues to stir both archaeologists and dreamers alike. The Egyptians called their kingdom Kemet, the Black Land, a name derived from the fertile soil left behind by the Nile's floods. Yet for all their reverence toward the river, their gaze was forever drawn upward. To the ancient Egyptians, the sky was a map of the divine, a mirror of their own civilization. The stars of Orion and Sirius were not distant suns, but the homes of gods, Osiris and Isis, the twin pillars of life, death, and rebirth. Every temple and pyramid was aligned with celestial precision, forming a dialogue between heaven and earth that modern engineers still struggle to comprehend. The Great Pyramid of Giza, that immutable mountain of stone, remains the most tantalizing enigma of ancient engineering. Composed of more than 2 million blocks, each weighing several tons, its construction defies easy explanation. No ancient record describes how it was built, and its internal geometry reveals a level of mathematical sophistication so advanced it seems almost prophetic. The pyramid's dimensions encode the value of P, the golden ratio, and even the curvature of the Earth. Its alignment to true north is more precise than that of most modern structures. How, with copper tools and manual labor, did a Bronze Age people achieve such perfection? Traditional Egyptology attributes it to ingenuity, organization, and time. The disciplined effort of thousands of workers guided by a visionary culture. Yet others perceive something more mysterious. The ancient astronaut theory suggests that Egypt's monumental precision may have been inspired by extraterrestrial knowledge. That the pyramid was not merely a tomb, but a machine of resonance, an instrument designed to interact with cosmic energy or to signal to the stars. Indeed, the Great Pyramid's shafts, narrow tunnels leading outward from its chambers, align precisely with specific stars, Orion's belt and Sirius in the southern sky, and Thuban, the ancient North Star, in the northern heavens. This alignment is not coincidental. In Egyptian belief, the soul of the pharaoh ascended through these channels to join the gods in the constellations. But the symbolism is startlingly literal. It is as though the structure itself was engineered as a launch mechanism for the soul, or, in speculative interpretation, a conduit of energy connecting Earth and the stars. The Book of the Dead, Egypt's compendium of spiritual transformation, describes the afterlife as a journey through the celestial realm, a passage among the constellations, guided by divine beings who came from the stars to teach mankind the ways of civilization. The gods themselves, Thoth, Ra, Osiris, Horus, are depicted descending from or ascending into luminous vessels, their headdresses and crowns often resembling helmets or radiating devices. Ra, the sun god, traveled across the sky in a great solar bark, a mythic ship of light. To the modern imagination, this boat of the gods resonates with imagery of celestial craft, vessels traversing not seas, but the cosmic ocean itself. In the myths of Zep-Tepi, the first time, the Egyptians spoke of an age when divine beings ruled upon the earth, imparting knowledge of architecture, astronomy, and moral order. They were said to have come from the stars, and when their reign ended, they returned there, leaving humanity to guard their legacy. The pyramid fields of Giza, Saqqara, and Dashur, aligned with Orion's belt and the Milky Way, may thus represent not only tombs, but maps of the heavens, terrestrial imitations of the cosmic home from which the gods once came. One of the most intriguing symbols of this connection is the Eye of Horus, representing insight, protection, and divine wisdom. Its proportions, when analyzed mathematically, mirror the structure of the human brain, as if the ancients possessed knowledge of anatomy and consciousness far beyond their era. Some researchers have suggested that the opening of the eye symbolized an awakening of higher perception, possibly linked to the transmission of wisdom from the stars. Whether interpreted metaphysically or literally, the symbol reflects a profound understanding of the unity between the cosmic and the human. Egypt's monuments were not static. They were part of a living system of energy and consciousness, designed to preserve harmony between the earth and the heavens. The temples of Karnak, Luxor, and Abu Simbel all align with specific celestial events, solstices, equinoxes, and the heliacal rising of Sirius, marking the flooding of the Nile and the renewal of life. This synchronization of architecture and astronomy reveals an almost scientific precision in the service of the spiritual. It suggests a civilization not merely observing the stars, but communing with them. When viewed through the lens of interstellar speculation, Egypt emerges not as a primitive kingdom of superstition, but as a cosmic project, a society guided perhaps by knowledge that did not originate solely on Earth. Yet even if we dismiss the extraterrestrial hypothesis, the symbolic truth remains equally staggering. The Egyptians saw themselves as participants in a cosmic drama, their kings as emissaries between humanity and the infinite. Whether their gods were ancient astronauts or archetypal expressions of human transcendence, their civilization stands as testimony to a universal longing to touch the stars and to bring their light down to earth. As the desert winds whisper across the ancient stones, one feels that Egypt still hums with energy, a silent resonance between matter and eternity. In its monuments, the line between history and myth blurs, revealing not certainty, but wonder. And perhaps that is the greatest legacy of all, a reminder that the pursuit of the divine, whether through religion or reason, is ultimately a dialogue with the cosmos, a dialogue that began long before history and will continue long after its last page is written. They built their world to reflect it. All across the globe, we find magnificent structures, temples, tombs, aligned to celestial events with breathtaking precision. At Stonehenge, the summer solstice sun rises through the monument's heart, illuminating the central stone. No accident, but generations of observation. A place to mark the turning of the year, guided by the sun. At Chichen Itza during the equinox, a serpent of shadow appears, Kukulkan returning to earth. At Newgrange, the solstice sunrise pierces stone to awaken a chamber within. Many temples were sited to stars sacred to their gods. These were not buildings, they were instruments, bringing heaven's order to earth. For most of history, the oceans were vast and terrifying. If the civilizations of Mesopotamia and Egypt were the first voices in humanity's cosmic dialogue, then the peoples of the Americas, the Maya, Aztec, Inca, and their mysterious predecessors, were its resonant echo, carrying the celestial vision into new lands and new epochs. Across vast jungles, mountains, and deserts, they built monuments that defied nature and time, encoding the same cosmic language that once guided the builders of pyramids on the other side of the world. In the heart of the Yucatan, the Maya looked to the heavens not merely for inspiration, but for instruction. Their entire worldview was a living astronomy, a symphony of numbers, stars, and divine cycles. The Maya calendar, precise to a degree that astonished modern scientists, mapped not only solar and lunar motions, but planetary alignments, eclipses, and even the precession of the equinoxes. How did a civilization without metal instruments or telescopes achieve such mathematical brilliance? To the Maya, the answer was simple. The knowledge had been taught to them by their gods, beings who came from the stars. Their sacred texts, the Popol Vuh and the Chilam Balam, describe sky beings descending to earth, bringing order to chaos, shaping humanity, and teaching the arts of timekeeping and agriculture. These visitors were described as radiant, often bird-like or serpent-like, an image embodied in the god Kukulkan, the feathered serpent known to the Aztecs as Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl was no ordinary deity. He was a teacher, a civilizer, a bringer of wisdom who arrived from the east, shining like the morning star, and departed with the promise to return. In the carvings of Chichen Itza, he is depicted as both man and serpent, his headdress a plume of feathers that resemble flames or radiant energy. The temple built in his honor, El Castillo, is not just a monument, it is a cosmic clock. During the equinoxes, sunlight casts a perfect shadow of a serpent descending the pyramid staircase, joining heaven and earth in light. The Maya did not see the cosmos as distant. They believed the universe was woven into the very fabric of existence. The gods were within the stars, but also within human consciousness. Yet their myths repeatedly speak of sky travelers, beings who arrived in fiery chariots or descending from luminous disks. The similarity to accounts from Sumer and Egypt is striking. Could it be that all these civilizations inherited echoes of a shared memory, an encounter with intelligences beyond our world? Far to the south, high in the Andes, the Inca built their own celestial kingdom. The imperial city of Cusco, shaped like a puma, a symbol of divine strength, was designed as the center of the world. Above it rose Sacsayhuaman, a fortress of megalithic stones so precisely fitted that not even a blade of grass can slide between them. Some of these stones weigh over 100 tons, quarried from miles away across mountainous terrain. The methods of construction remain a mystery, as though the builders possessed technology that defies the tools of their time. To the Inca, their rulers were children of the sun, descended from the star Viracocha, a god who came from the heavens during an age of darkness to bring light, law, and civilization. He was often depicted as a bearded man, robed in white, wielding thunderbolts. an image that resonates curiously with other sky gods across the ancient world. The legends say he arrived by sea, but departed skyward, promising to return when humanity was ready. Even more enigmatic are the Nazca lines, etched into the desert plains of southern Peru. Colossal geoglyphs depicting animals, spirals, and humanoid figures visible only from the air. The largest stretch for hundreds of meters, their scale so vast that they remain coherent only when viewed from above. To many researchers, they were ritual pathways or astronomical calendars. Yet to others, they resemble landing markers, messages to or from those who could traverse the sky. The Nazca themselves worshipped beings associated with flight and transformation. Perhaps metaphorical, perhaps not. Elsewhere in South America, the ruins of Tiwanaku and Pumapunku challenge our understanding of pre-Columbian engineering. Located near Lake Titicaca in Bolivia, these sites contain precisely cut andesite stones with interlocking shapes that seem machined, not carved. The precision of the angles, some at 90 degrees with smooth bore holes, is astounding for a culture supposedly lacking metal tools. The legends of the region speak of the god Viracocha descending from the sky in a shining vehicle, bringing with him knowledge of construction and mathematics before vanishing into the heavens. Across both continents, the mythic continuity is astonishing. In every story, a pattern emerges. Gods descending from the sky, teaching humankind, promising to return. The architecture points to the stars. The temples align with celestial events. The Temple of the Sun at Machu Picchu, for instance, captures the solstice sunrise with surgical precision, illuminating the sanctuary at the exact moment the sun reaches its zenith. At Teotihuacan, near modern-day Mexico City, the pyramids of the sun and moon are arranged to mirror the constellation of Orion, just as the pyramids of Giza do. Different continents, different centuries, yet the same cosmic pattern. Could this simply be coincidence? Skeptics argue that human cultures, all under the same sky, naturally mirrored the heavens in their architecture. Yet there is a deeper resonance at play, a whisper of memory older than civilization itself. Across millennia, humans have described the same vision, radiant beings descending from the stars to awaken the earth. Whether literal visitors or archetypal projections, these stories speak to a continuity of cosmic consciousness that transcends geography and time. Perhaps the ancient peoples of the Americas were not recording extraterrestrial contact, but rather expressing an intuitive understanding of humanity's own cosmic origin, an awareness that we, too, are made of stardust, born from the explosions of distant suns. In their myths, science and spirituality merge. The descent of the gods is also the descent of cosmic matter into life. Still, one cannot stand before the colossal stones of Sacsayhuaman, the radiant geometry of Chichen Itza, or the endless lines of Nazca without feeling the same awe that stirred our ancestors. Whether we call them gods, aliens, or archetypes, these presences from the sky shaped human destiny, not necessarily through technology, but through imagination. They made us look up and wonder who we truly are. The civilizations of the Americas carried the torch of the cosmic quest, reminding us that the human story was never confined to the earth. In their temples of stone and their calendars of stars, they inscribed a message that still hums beneath the surface of time. We come from the cosmos, and to the cosmos we shall return. To leave sight of shore was to risk being lost forever. Yet some became masters of the sea, without compass, without GPS. They read the sky. The Polynesians memorized the paths of hundreds of stars. They knew which stars rose and set over specific islands. To reach Hawaii, steer by a star passing over your destination, switching as it climbs. A celestial pathway traced across the sea. They read waves bent by unseen islands, felt through wood and bone, birds, clouds, winds, threads in a living manuscript. Today we have more data. They had a deeper, holistic knowing. It was a different kind of brilliance. For ancient people, the stars were not just points of light. Between the ruins of Sumer, the sands of Egypt, and the jungles of the Americas, a silent rhythm repeats, as though history itself were an echo of something greater, older, and largely forgotten. Beneath the rise and fall of kingdoms lies a question that refuses to fade. Were there civilizations before our recorded history, now lost to time, whose knowledge came not from trial and error, but from the stars themselves? The concept of lost civilizations is as ancient as civilization itself. In nearly every culture's mythic record, there exists a memory of a time before time, a golden age when divine beings walked among men, teaching them the arts of wisdom, agriculture, and architecture, before a great cataclysm erased their works. The Greeks spoke of Atlantis, the drowned island of perfect order and knowledge. The Hindus described Dwarka and Kumari Kandam, lands lost beneath the waves. The Mesopotamians told of Eridu and the flood that ended the age of the gods. Even the Hopi and the Maya preserved memories of prior worlds, each destroyed in turn by fire, water, or ice. In these tales, the gods were not omnipotent abstractions. They were tangible presences, beings who could be seen, heard, and even opposed. Some appeared radiant and human-like, others hybrid and mysterious. Many came from the sky, promising salvation, and when the great disasters struck, whether flood, fire, or cosmic upheaval, they vanished, ascending once more to the heavens. Could these stories be dim recollections of prehistoric contact, an epoch when Earth itself was visited by interstellar travelers who seeded the first sparks of civilization? Among the most evocative of these legends is that of Atlantis, preserved in Plato's dialogues Timaeus and Critias. According to his account, Atlantis was a great maritime empire situated beyond the pillars of Heracles, flourishing in arts and science, powered by a mysterious energy that harnessed both the earth and the heavens. Its destruction came suddenly, a single night of earthquakes and floods, and its memory lingered as a warning and a promise. Skeptics treat the tale as allegory, yet what if it was a memory of a real, technologically advanced society predating the known civilizations of Sumer and Egypt? Modern speculation links Atlantis with the sudden rise of advanced knowledge in early cultures, a reboot of civilization after a global cataclysm, possibly at the end of the last ice age. Around 12,000 years ago, as glaciers melted and sea levels rose, hundreds of coastal settlements vanished. Recent underwater discoveries near India, Japan, and the Caribbean reveal megalithic structures and sunken cities that hint at forgotten epochs of human mastery. These remnants, if genuine, challenge the linear timeline of progress we have long taken for granted. One of the most compelling sites in this regard is Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey, a complex of megalithic temples built around 10,000 BCE, long before the invention of agriculture or the wheel. The massive stone pillars, carved with intricate animal reliefs, were deliberately buried by their builders for reasons unknown. What makes Göbekli Tepe extraordinary is not only its age, but its sophistication. The layout appears astronomically aligned, marking the positions of specific constellations. The question arises, who built it, and how did hunter-gatherers acquire such advanced architectural and symbolic knowledge? To those who see a cosmic thread running through human history, Göbekli Tepe represents the first dawn of post-cataclysmic civilization, the reawakening of an ancient memory, perhaps one preserved by survivors of a lost age. Its carvings may not merely depict animals, but celestial symbols, messages written in stone by a culture that still remembered its teachers from the stars. Even more enigmatic are the Dogon people of Mali in West Africa. Their oral traditions speak of star beings known as the Nomo, who descended from the sky in a vessel surrounded by fire and thunder to impart knowledge of agriculture, speech, and cosmic order. What astonished modern scholars was the Dogon's detailed knowledge of Sirius B, a white dwarf companion star invisible to the naked eye, and discovered only with modern telescopes. How could an isolated, non-literate culture possess such information? For those inclined toward interstellar interpretations, the Dogon story is one of the most striking clues of all, a living echo of ancient contact. Yet even if we interpret it symbolically, the result is no less profound. It demonstrates how ancient cultures embedded astronomical truth within myth, preserving scientific insight through narrative long before written science existed. In this sense, myth becomes not superstition but memory, the encoded record of humanity's oldest knowledge. Across these traditions, Atlantis, the Nomo, Göbekli Tepe, and countless others, a pattern emerges. It is as though humanity's story is not linear, but cyclical. The rise of civilization, its fall and cataclysm, and the rebirth of memory through myth. Each age, in turn, preserves fragments of the last, fragments that point back to the stars. Modern science may not confirm extraterrestrial contact, yet it has uncovered a truth no less wondrous. Every atom in our bodies, every breath of air and grain of soil was born in the heart of a star. The ancients, in their own poetic way, knew this. Perhaps intuitively, perhaps through whispers of an older wisdom. When they spoke of gods descending from the heavens, they may have been expressing not only mythic encounters, but a cosmic truth. That life itself is the universe made conscious, the stars learning to see themselves. To explore the possibility of interstellar influence, then, is to confront the deeper mystery of human consciousness. Whether through divine messengers, alien visitors, or evolutionary leaps of mind, something extraordinary occurred in our distant past. A sudden illumination that set humanity apart from the beasts, igniting art, language, and architecture. It is this mystery, more than any machine or monument, that binds the ancient astronaut hypothesis to the human spirit. For it asks not merely where we come from, but what within us still calls to the stars. If lost civilizations did exist, whether physical or symbolic, their greatest gift may not have been technology, but memory, the remembrance that we are part of something infinitely larger than ourselves. Their ruins whisper this truth through stone and silence alike. As above, so below, as within, so without. The same message echoed in the temples of Sumer, the pyramids of Egypt, and the ziggurats of the Maya. It is a message of unity between earth and cosmos, matter and spirit, past and future. Perhaps these civilizations were not destroyed, but transformed, absorbed into the collective human mind, their legacy continuing as intuition, myth, and the unshakable longing to return to the stars. In every age, new seekers arise to rediscover what was once known. The cycle of remembrance continues. They were characters in a cosmic drama. Orion the hunter, Ursa Major the great bear. Stories were more than entertainment. They explained the universe and our place within it. The Pleiades, a tiny cluster, 440 light-years away, yet rich with meaning. Across cultures, 7 stars shared powerful stories. Myth was also a mnemonic. Stories stitched the sky into a mental map. That map guided navigation, farming, and timekeeping. Today we know constellations are perspective, beautiful illusions. But in gaining clarity, have we lost intimacy, wonder, belonging? They saw a sky full of gods and heroes. We see a vast, beautiful, often impersonal universe. There was a time when ancient and emerging knowledge converged. The Library of Alexandria, center of research, not just scrolls. Eratosthenes measured Earth with shadows and distance, geometry, observation, reason, astonishingly accurate. Aristarchus proposed a sun-centered cosmos, millennia early. His insight was largely set aside. The library's decline, fires and upheaval, erased untold knowledge. We can only wonder what else was discovered there. How much faster might science have advanced? Knowledge is fragile. Progress rarely runs straight. Yet the stars remained, waiting to be read again. Ancient precision can still astonish us. Hipparchus compared Greek observations with Babylonian records, discovering precession, a 26,000-year wobble. Precision built from patience and generations. No telescopes, no computers, just eyes and time. Today, amateurs see Saturn's rings and Jupiter's moons with ease. Our instruments now reach galaxies and newborn stars, thousands of exoplanets, echoes of the Big Bang measured. Master craftsman versus skyscraper engineer, 2 kinds of mastery. Ancients, deep familiarity with the visible sky. Us, broader, multi-wavelength knowledge of the invisible cosmos. Two different kinds of mastery. In one crucial way, ancients knew the stars better. They could actually see them. Imagine nights where moon and stars are the only light. The Milky Way as a brilliant textured river. Thousands of naked-eye stars, nebulae, Andromeda within reach. Today, most see only a few. Light pollution washes the sky. Most humans now live beneath erased constellations. For many, the galaxy exists only in pictures. This isn't about intelligence, it's circumstance. We traded darkness for safety and convenience, unintentionally drawing a curtain across the cosmos. We have arrived at the heart of our question. It isn't about who was smarter, but about intimacy versus information. The ancient way was intimate, holistic, place-bound. The modern way is objective, data-driven, universal. It's the farmer who senses rain, the sailor who hears the sea. Stars as familiar faces, guides and spirits. Knowledge embodied in hands, eyes, stories, songs, ceremony. Science, observation, hypothesis, experiment, verification. It reveals temperatures, chemistry, and ages we cannot touch. Who knows the forest better, the walker or the map reader? Both are valid. Both are valuable. So where does this journey leave us? Humanity's story is a tapestry woven from starlight and dust. We are creatures who began by gazing upward, tracing patterns among the constellations, and seeing in them not mere points of light, but mirrors of our own mystery. From the ziggurats of Sumer to the pyramids of Giza, from the sacred calendars of the Maya to the stone fortresses of the Andes, one truth endures. Our ancestors built not only with stone, but with cosmic intention. They sought to bring heaven to earth, to align human life with the geometry of the universe itself. The theory of ancient interstellar contact, the idea that extraterrestrial beings influenced early civilizations, may never find definitive proof. It resides at the threshold between history and myth, science and poetry. Yet it serves a deeper purpose. It restores wonder to the human story. It reminds us that our past is not merely a chronicle of survival, but a spiritual odyssey, a quest to understand the luminous beings we see reflected in the night sky and within ourselves. If the Sumerians Anunnaki, Egypt's gods of light, or the feathered serpent of the Maya were indeed messengers from beyond, then humanity is the legacy of cosmic intervention, a hybrid of earth and heaven, flesh and stardust. But even if these beings existed only in the imaginations of our ancestors, their message remains unchanged. That humanity's destiny is not to crawl in the dust, but to rise toward the stars. In every myth of descent from the heavens, there is also a promise of return. The gods come, teach, and depart, but they do not vanish. They await the time when humanity matures enough to rejoin them. Perhaps this is less a prophecy of visitation than a metaphor for awakening. The return of the gods may not mean the descent of alien ships, but the ascent of human consciousness, a rediscovery of our own divine potential. In this reading, the ancient astronaut becomes an inner archetype, the part of the human psyche that reaches beyond itself, yearning to become more than it is. Still, there are patterns in the stones and stars that tease the rational mind. The precision of ancient architecture, the global repetition of celestial symbolism, the advanced mathematics encoded in temples and pyramids, all these whisper that the ancients knew something profound about the structure of reality. Whether that knowledge came from the guidance of star travelers or from the deep intuition of minds attuned to the cosmos, its essence remains the same. We belong to the universe, and the universe lives within us. Modern science, in its own way, has brought us back to that truth. The atoms of our bodies were forged in the hearts of ancient stars. Our DNA carries the memory of cosmic evolution. When we send probes into space or gaze through telescopes into galaxies billions of light years away, we are not reaching outward, but returning home. The same wonder that filled the hearts of the Sumerian astronomers and Egyptian priests burns within us still. And perhaps that is the ultimate secret of the ancient civilizations, that their stories of gods and visitors, their temples aligned to constellations, were never merely records of external contact, but acts of remembrance, expressions of a universal truth encoded in the human soul. The aliens of the past may not have been foreign at all, but reflections of what humanity sensed within itself, the potential to transcend, to create, to understand the infinite. The ancients built to last, not because they feared oblivion, but because they knew that memory is the bridge between worlds. Every stone, every carving, every myth was a message, not to their contemporaries, but to us, the distant descendants who would one day rediscover their wisdom. And we have. With every new discovery, a buried temple, an unread tablet, a star seen for the first time, we piece together fragments of a forgotten dialogue between earth and sky. To study these mysteries is to engage in a conversation that has never truly ended. The pyramids, ziggurats, and megaliths still speak, in the language of geometry and alignment, of silence and shadow. They remind us that the quest for the divine, whether framed in myth or science, is the same quest, to know who we are and where we come from. Perhaps one day, when our own civilization reaches for the stars and sets foot on other worlds, we will stand before beings who ask us the same question we have asked for millennia. Where did you come from? And perhaps our answer will echo the wisdom of our ancestors. We come from the same place you do, from the stars. The interstellar secrets of ancient civilizations, then, are not locked in temples or buried beneath deserts. They are written in our own being, in the curiosity that drives us to explore, the imagination that gives birth to myth, and the courage to dream of worlds beyond our own. Whether the gods of the past were alien or divine, they awakened within humanity the desire to become more. That desire endures. It is the pulse of history itself, the silent call of the cosmos reverberating through every human heart. The ancients built monuments of stone. We build monuments of knowledge. But the dream is the same, to reach beyond the horizon, to touch the unknown, to remember that we are and have always been children of the stars, under the same sky, with different eyes. Their knowledge was practical and sacred, woven into survival and spirit. Their architecture, travels, and ceremonies honored the heavens. Their view was clearer, their relationship more intimate. Our tools unlock wonders beyond imagination. We've learned the language of the cosmos. The story is not over. Wonder still drives us. It lives in science and art, and in any quiet glance upward. Reconnect. Balance information with intimacy. Seek the dark. Visit a true dark sky. Let it change you. Keep asking. Keep learning. But most of all, keep looking up. Wonder is the first step to knowledge. Thanks for watching Shadows of History series. My goal is to bring forgotten stories and hidden moments from the past back to life, to explore the parts of history that often stay in the shadows. Each episode takes a lot of research, writing, and editing to make sure every detail is right and every story is told with care. If you'd like to help me keep creating these documentaries and grow this channel, you can support Shadows of History series on Buy Me a Coffee. Your support helps me make more videos, dive deeper into research, and build stronger connections with viewers who love history as much as I do. Every bit of support, even one coffee, truly helps bring more stories from the shadows into the light. Thank you for watching, for sharing, and for being part of this journey.